And nothing, no, nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me. Soon now we'll be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I come running to see you again. Don't you know that winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend, yeah, you got a friend. When the sky above you turns dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind begins to blow, keep your head together now. Call my name out loud. Soon I'll come a knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I come running to see you again. Don't you know that winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend, yeah, you got a friend. Some people can be so cold, they hurt you, desert you, take your soul if you let them, so don't you let them know. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I come running to see you again. You sound so beautiful. Don't you know that winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend, yeah, you got a friend, and good to know that you got a friend. You got a friend. So beautiful. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Good morning. There I am. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Nice to have you guys here. I was a little worried Walter wasn't here. It was there he is. Yes. I mean, you guys are all fabulous and beautiful, but it's like there's Walter. Anyway, I'm just so happy that you guys are here today. Welcome. Happy Sunday to everybody. We got some special treats today. We are going to be blessed by listening to Magdalena as she makes her debut for our community today. Yes, we're very excited about that. And Larry and Karen are in the house, so we can start now officially. And let's see everything else that's going on. Let me do a couple of announcements that are happening. So the first thing is that some people have asked how you become a member of this community, and how you become a member is you take a membership class, and I'm going to do one in September. Where's Andrea? She's probably looking at me thinking, "Well, I have not heard this before." So I'm going to look at my travel schedule because I know I'm gone somewhere in September somehow. But I'll post that at the beginning, or I'll announce the dates next week. It'll be a 2 or 3 class on Zoom. In that, and it's for anybody. If you kind of want to know the principles of our teaching, where they are if you kind of want to know the principles of our teaching in lieu of how I look at them, there's that and some spiritual practices, and it's offered as a gift to the community, and so we'll have sign up and information about that. I hope you can all attend. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's happening. Also, the thing that we do best, the thing that I love that we do more than anything else, is we pray. And so there are different ways to get prayer today if your heart has been touched. The first is you can see one of the practitioners, Liz or Andrea or Paul, after service, and just ask if they would pray with you, and they would be happy to do that with you. You can fill out a prayer request in the narthex there, and the practitioners meet during the week and we pray together, so we'll pray during the week for your intentions. Or you can set up an appointment with any one of us for if you want a longer, more in-depth counseling session. We're available for that as well. And the prayer circle, yeah, and Paul will lead a prayer circle about 10 minutes afterwards. And then also prayer. Paul runs a meditation on Wednesdays at 12:30. It's a very sweet way just to kind of unplug and sort of be here. And Jim's class, I walked past today, is becoming quite raucous and interesting. You guys are up to something in there. So anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, so every Sunday morning from 9 to 10, we have a lot of fun going through the Tao Te Ching and exploring some really fun philosophy. It's fine if you haven't been to any of the other classes. You can jump in at any point, and we would love to see you there.
And how you doing, my friend?
A little sleepy. My son gets up at 5:30 these days to surf, and I'm the one that takes him out to the beach after a late night gig. So catching up, but it's all worth it and beautiful. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Because you work at night and apparently at 5:30 in the morning.
Early, yeah. The surf doesn't wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, that is true.
Yeah.
There is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you playing any place that we might know or see you?
No, just all those big fancy resorts that I can't get into if I'm not playing a guitar.
There you go. And they certainly wouldn't allow us. And anyway, yeah. Paul, how about you? How are things?
Yeah, things are great. I'm just enjoying this time of year.
Yeah.
You know, there's this really sense of gratitude for kids being back in school, and I just you know, there's something to that, you know. But mostly it's just this sense of really like this kind of studious nature that seems to arise this time of year for me, where I just get more into my books and you know, so it's really nice.
Good. Right on. Good. Cool. Anybody got anything they need to share that's important and that you want to celebrate? Good. I'll share Rolo was busy last night at 1, at 3, at 3:30. And there was a dead gopher in the backyard this morning, too. So I have not slept either. So I'm going to try to contain myself because I can already see myself getting a little wiggy. So with that, I think that would be a good opportunity for Paul to lead us into prayer and to take us into service.
So welcome everyone to this beautiful community. I see some new faces, and I hear So I want to welcome you all to our center. It's so good to see you again every Sunday here, and some new faces here too as well. So we'll be happy to get to know you after our service and chit chat a little bit. And so we welcome you all here who's been here before. You're always welcome here on your spiritual journey wherever you are. And so my name is Paul. I'm one of the practitioners here. And so as we begin our service, let us just pray into this service today. And so the theme of this month is the theme of creativity. And creativity is so special to me because it has this beautiful effect that we all are a part of, this sense of creativity, right? We were able to walk in these bodies and breathe. And for me, all that is a way of being creative. And the work we do and the relationships that we have, it's just a beautiful way to be creative. That's why I love this theme. And so one of those ways we can be creative is by prayer. And I think that's awesome too. So let us pray. And so we sit here in this experience of creativity, this experience of life and of truth. How beautiful it is where we are here together, knowing and deeply becoming more aware of this essence of life, which comes forth in each and every thought, each and every notion, each and every breath. For truly, we are created. And so I know that this sense of creativity and life comes forth through each and every one of us here as we share the gifts of who we are with the people around us. We are receptive to that divine presence by listening to the wonderful sounds of Lee, the beats by Jim, and the words from Reverend Dr. Guy. All of it truly is that sense of creativity. And so with that, let us simply know that truth, that we are supported and held up by love, and that this love flourishes, and by being here, we are going deeper in that experience of love. And for that, I'm grateful. Giving thanks, I let it be so. And so it is. And so the reading for the week kind of sparked this whole idea of creativity and yet this idea of mind. And like this sense of mind that we have with the ability of our thoughts to create. And so I chose this reading from some of the writings of the Buddha, which actually comes from the Pali Canon. The Pali Canon is it's a set of sutras, of teachings that are a sense of sacred scripture from the East. You can find them online. It's an amazing resource if you want to go deeper in your spirituality. And a lot of what we teach in Science of Mind, I notice, comes from this sacred scripture, just like the New Testament and the Old, but also from the writings and the teachings of the Buddha. And so it's a very basic reading, but it has a lot of meaning to it if you just contemplate, which we'll be able to do afterwards in our meditation. And so the reading goes, however the seed is planted, in that way the fruit is gathered. Good things come from doing good deeds. Bad things come from doing bad deeds. What is the purpose of a mirror? For the purpose of reflection. So too, mental action is to be done with repeated reflection. And now we will sit with that in our 3-minute meditation as I ring the bell, and ring the bell as we come out of it. with a grateful heart.
So it is. So it is.
All right, we've got a special treat right now. I'd like to invite one of our new congregation members, Magdalena, up to share some ukulele and vocal mantra that she's been doing. So please welcome Magdalena.
Great morning, everyone. I thought I'd go barefoot to support Jim up here so he wasn't all alone. It's been such a wonderful opportunity this summer to find Hilltop and find a home and a community. So thank you to Guy and Andrea and Liz and all of the friends here. It's such an honor to share my music this morning. I haven't sang in a group like this since 2008 and 9 when that young man with the afro back there was like 6 months old. And part of my story, and I share this for inspiration, part of my story was I stopped singing. You know, I sang for 30 years of my life, and I just stopped. And it was actually a part of a journey of a spiritual awakening that, you know, I lost my voice. I even manifested an autoimmune disease in my throat and found myself in like a dark night of the soul journey. And 4 years ago, Spirit called me back and said, hey, you know, my ancestors, they wanted me to sing again. So I joined a choir, and after almost 13 years of not singing, I was excited to add ukulele to the mix. And one of the tools that I found through singing and music are mantras. How many of you had ever sang a mantra, heard of mantras? It's helped me through the past 3 years through healing addictive behaviors, the inner critic. I don't know if anybody is ever familiar with your inner critic. I'm a double Virgo, so I say it's extra turbo Virgo inner critic. A lot of self-judgment, and a lot of times that can cause dis-ease in the body, like I was sharing with my throat disease. And mantras are one of the most healing things that I have found to calm the mind and the body. So the mantra that I'm singing today, and I'm going to invite you to sing, I don't want to sing by myself, so just preparing all of you for joining in, is called Ra, Ma, Da, Sa. So some of you may already know it, and if not, the good news is what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing it through twice, and then I'm going to invite you to join. And then because it's a mantra that fits very well with your message this month about creativity, note that it's very healing. It opens up all your chakras, and it's specific to the creativity message. And so if you want to, you can hold your hand by your navel, which is your sacral chakra. Totally optional, but just really allow the music to come and wash over you. Singing the sound of your own voice and singing it helps raise your vibration, so it's perfect to receive the message that's going to be shared. And on the last round, since it is about healing relationships, it's calling upon the moon, the sun, divine feminine, masculine, and also healing relationships and sending that energy from yourself to someone in your life that may be hurting, or if there's a relationship in your life that's challenged. I invite you to consider doing that on the final round. All right, so let's go ahead. And again, just the first 2 rounds, feel free to receive. Change it up. Last round, I invite you to send this loving light, this mind wave, this mantra to a friend or family member, or even just the collective, sending them love, light, and healing. If you have your eyes open or closed, just go ahead and take one nice deep inhale into the belly. And then sigh it out. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Thanks, Magdalena.
Treat. Just anytime that I can chant together with somebody is a fabulous thing. So this month we've been exploring the theme To err is human, to create is divine. And I want to kind of dig deep into that a little bit more this week, and maybe by doing so to kind of review where we've been this month. I kind of look at August as sort of like the end of a year. Because it always seems to me that September is a new beginning. I know in the Judaic culture, there's Rosh Hashanah, which actually is the first week in October this year. But generally it's the harvest, it's the beginning of new things. And it's interesting from a cosmic perspective to think that the beginning of something begins with the planting of the seeds, of the harvesting. And so we're sort of completing a year and anticipating the beginning of something new as we just sort of follow the rhythm of the earth, the rhythm of time as it moves through this great wheel, and how we look at it. And so to err is human. So to me what that means is simply this, is that we live in an unfinished universe. Evolution has not stopped since, 14 plus whatever billion years ago, something came from nothing. And creation has continued to evolve and move, and it still is. And so the fact that the universe is unfinished is, to me, indicative that it is imperfect. Because things happen. That's how evolution works, right? Natural selection or whatever, however we move about things, When we were all young and we were learning how to walk, we learned how to walk by falling down a lot. When we got into relationships, we learned how to be good in a relationship by being kind of silly in relationships as we're growing. I mean, that was adolescence, right? So there's always these things that we can learn and always these ways that we can improve ourselves. And I think the universe itself just sort of moves into that direction. And in that, I think what our teaching offers is at the very primal level, two principles that are worthy, I think, of exploring over and over again, just to kind of meditate. And the first one is this, is that something that Ernest Holmes says, is he says that the innermost God and the outermost God is the same God. Now, God's a funny word, and I'm using that word simply as a way of explaining something that is really unexplainable, but for the sake of a conversation today, we'll use this idea that this divine sense, this force, this presence, that which is and has been. In Kabbalah, it is known as Ein Sof, the endless one, that which was there prior, before any manifestation of anything else existing. And it exists as a guiding intelligence. In the beautiful poetry of the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Proverbs, it says, that I was there at the beginning of all things. And what was that? It was Sophia, this wisdom that lures, that invites, that draws us to that which is. And why that's important to each and every one of us to consider is that presence, that which was there at the very beginning of all things, that wisdom that is the guidance through the process of evolution, that which is this Ein Sof, knows you intimately, sees you clearly, and loves you unrelentingly. That there is nothing that any of us have ever done, are doing now, or ever will be, that can separate us from the very principle of that which creation is. Because if that divine presence that we call love were to stop loving, it would all disappear. Because it is built on the principle of love. It is built on that principle of goodness, of givingness, of giving of itself to itself, through itself, in itself, and as itself, in all creation, and especially for the person that is sitting in your seat right now. Something that the Zohar says. The Zohar is one of the books of the Kabbalah. It's known as the Book of Light. And it says that before that which is gave any shape to the world, before that which is produced any form, that which is was alone, without form, without resemblance to anything else. Who then can comprehend how that which is was before the creation? Hence, it is forbidden to lend that which is any form or similitude, or even to call it by any sacred name, or to indicate that which is by a single letter or a single point. But after that which was, the Ein Sof created the heavenly man, the Adam Cosmon, as it says. He used us as a chariot wherein to descend, and wishes to be called after its form, which is the sacred name, Yahweh Asher Yahweh, which is the verb to be present future tense. So that which is reveals itself as I am that I will be. I am that I am becoming. And what I would offer then is for our consideration is what that means is it's unfinished. Even the experience of the divine itself to us is evolving as we are evolving. You know, something that St. Paul says is he says, we look through a glass darkly, meaning in a sense that we are looking through lenses that are somewhat smoky or somewhat opaque because the clarity isn't there yet. And our activity then is to always be sort of washing the lens so that we can get clear. And that's something that we call spiritual practice, which brings us to the second principle of the essence of what we teach. If the first one is that there is a universal spirit that is beyond description and yet is as intimate to us as our perception of it is. The second follows that our thoughts are causative. How we perceive is how we experience. And how we perceive is determined by our conscious response to that which is. In other words, if thoughts are causative, we actually have the capacity to direct where our thoughts go. And that's a powerful place just to kind of play with where we want to be, because I think it's easy to consider that, that our thoughts don't really have much consequences outside of our own personal joys or miseries. But what I want to offer for your consideration today is that thoughts are not victimless, that every thought has an impact on all of creation. Something that Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said is he said, and I've been thinking about this idea all month, he says that the discovery of evolution, I think this is a bit high because I'm getting feedback. Or not? I am. I got a big voice. So something that Teilhard says is he says that the discovery of evolution was the greatest change in hominid intelligence in 2 million years, which is a really long time. It's even before Australopithecus, even before we got out of the trees, probably. But evolution itself is, and why I think that is, and to kind of go to the point of where I want to go, is that up until the 20th century, I would offer, probably even before, frankly, but we'll use that just because that's what Teilhard says, and I adore him. But he says this, is that evolution has been determined by natural selection, except no more, because evolution is determined on human imagination. there is not one aspect of creation that is happening on the planet today. There is not one process of evolution that is going on the planet today that is not influenced in some way or another by human activity. I was reading in the New York Times not long, because I found it just frankly disgusting and frightening, but that scientists are now trying to figure out how to work with the digestive systems of cows to minimize methane gas. And I thought, well, that's an interesting thing. The first thing, we take these poor beasts and we feed them an unhealthy diet, and then they create gas, and now we want to fix their stomachs so that we can continue tinkering with them. I don't want to go too far on that, but I just offer that to you for your consideration, that everything that is happening on the planet today is antecedent on human activity. Now, this is interesting because, again, if we go back to Kabbalah, if we go back to the ancient Hebrews, if we go back into the teachings of Jesus, even if we go back to the activity of the teachings of Buddhism, not so much in Hinduism, but maybe a little bit there if we squeeze it. But it basically is this, is that you and I and all creation have been invited to co-create with the divine. We are the activity of spirit. We are the process of evolution. It is us that, either for good or not, is the guiding force on the planet that we live in today. And that each and every thought that we have leads to a perception of how things will be, which leads to how we respond and invite and activate and do what we need to do. In Kabbalah, and actually in the Western esoteric tradition, there is something known as what is called an arcanum. An arcanum, probably the best way to describe it, is like an enzyme. It quickens, it activates something. And so there are practices that one does, like mantra, like chanting, like breathing, like yoga, like prayer, like bhakti, which is just the devotional service. There are ways and ways and ways and ways and ways we can practice that activate or quicken how we perceive things. And if an arcanum is like an enzyme, even greater than that is a mystery. And a mystery is that which disrupts our perception of how things are. And it is in that disruption that change or evolution quickens or activates even further. Does this make sense? And it's not always pleasant, because sometimes it's something that's painful or tragic or scary or whatever the case may be. One of the things that we observe is that the path of the soul, the path of evolution, the path of creation kind of is a spiral. It's not really linear. It's usually order, disorder, reorder. It's working, it's stable, and then it's disruptive, and it may break down, and it gets messy, and then it reorganizes itself, it learns. This is the beauty, I think, of evolution, is that to me, it's evidence of intelligence, that it is always learning, what it's ever learning, which of course brings us to the consideration of the second law of thermodynamics, right? Because that's what you were thinking. Which essentially is that energy disperses. If the first law of thermodynamics is that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it just simply changes its expression, the second law of thermodynamics basically says that it's always dispersing. It's always dispersing, and that how the universe operates is it's always gathering this free or this unencumbered energy, whether that be, these nurseries of galaxies and stars and suns that are drawing the free energy of helium and hydrogen and creating these vast, huge experiences and powerful events that happen within the universe that we're in, or whether it's the plants in our garden that are gathering the photons from the sun, or it is us as we consume those plants and gather that energy, from a secondary way. But the whole process is that life depends on life, that activity depends on activity, that everything from the very Big Bang itself to the tea you had this morning, all of it is interconnected. And every one of those things happens as a result of something else, which happened as something else. And us sitting here is an event that will ripple itself out again to who knows where, but we get to guide it through our intention. And our intention is determined by our perception of things. So I want to talk a little bit about that, if I can, for just a second. In the good old Dion Fortune, that great old occultist warhorse, but she talks about, in the initiation of the initiate, or the beginning of the training, we begin to differentiate between awareness and perception. And this is something that I've given you guys practice to do as homework, to find how you are aware and how you perceive. So let me give you an example. Out on the savannas of Africa, we can say there's a gazelle. And this gazelle is at a watering hole or eating a grass or doing whatever gazelles do. And it is aware. It is aware, first of all, that there's some baboons that are probably, a couple hundred yards away. Now, the gazelle, and maybe its family of gazelles, are aware, but they also perceive. Baboons aren't dangerous. We can keep eating, we can keep doing what we're wanting to do. And then another gazelle is aware that there is a lion. And the lion's about 200 yards away, and the gazelle sort of looks at its phone and says, how fast, and says, and perceives that the lion is 200 yards away. When it gets to be about 100 yards away, it needs to move fast. And we do the same thing. We do the same thing, right? We become aware of what's around us, but sometimes we perceive things in a way that may not work. And let me give you an example. I used this a couple weeks ago. Brian Swim talks about in New Zealand there was a bird, and like several birds, it was a flightless bird. After 10 million years of evolution on the island of New Zealand, it had no need to fly. In fact, flying was probably a hindrance to it because it hunted, kind of like penguins. Penguins don't fly, they swim. And they're good at what they do for the environment that they live in. And so here are these birds that for 10 million years or so are living on the island of New Zealand, and they don't fly. No big deal. They seem to be just fine. They have no natural predators. So then people came to the island. And they brought cats. Guess what happened? So the birds, bless their hearts, were aware of the cats, but they had no perception of the danger that a cat is. And so they just simply look, well, what is that thing? Look, it's getting closer. It's even getting close. What beautiful teeth. And those birds are now with Jesus. And they exist no more because the perception put them in mortal danger. Now, how is that relevant to you and I? How we have been trained to see things that serve us or don't serve us. How we tell ourselves stories of things, underwriting probably even our intuition of what we should do or how we should do it. So it's this idea of how we cultivate an imagination, how we nurture, how we perceive things, because how we perceive them is how we experience them. Dr. Holmes, again, used to say that how we perceive God is how we experience God. So if we perceive God as some sort of stern judge, guess how we're going to experience it? Thomas Troward said that one of the things about Jesus that made him one of the great metaphysicians of all time is that Jesus invited us not to see the divine presence as a stern judge, but as a loving parent, as a force that desires our good and wants our good and invites us and lures us to join in with it. And so then, I suppose then the question is, how then do we navigate this? And I want to offer two things that I've talked about this month. And the first comes from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, where he says, yoga vitri chitta naroda. Yoga is the calming of the oscillations of the mental substance. In other words, we're giving the mind, like I give Rollo a chew when I want him to behave so that I can focus on other things. We practice a form of yoga to still the oscillations of the mind so that it can become tame and governable. And yoga isn't just simply, going to a class and practicing body postures. Yoga is breathing. Yoga is chanting. Yoga is service. It is whatever we attach ourselves to as a discipline to calm the oscillations of the mind. And that is something that all of us should be doing, whatever the practice, whatever the traditions that we come from, is how can we consciously still the mind? And what I would offer is the contemplation of Ein Sof, that which was before anything else was. And why I personally think this is such a profound one is because it cannot be rationalized or understood intellectually or mentally. It takes us out of that. It brings us to where Rabbi Abraham Heschel says, it brings us to that place of amazement, of wonder, of awe. And there's no mental equivalent for that. It's just because in that moment, we're teachable. In that moment, we're open. I go back over and over and over again to Walt Whitman, who said, quoted by Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. Because when we're in that state, childlike state of amazement and wonder and awe, we're open, we're eager, we're receptive. When we're judgmental, we've already calcified our perception. We're grasping, we're clinging, we're small, we're condensed, we're defending. So the posture then is to be open to amazement and wonder and awe at all things that as they are, to be curious, and especially in the world that we're living in today, and especially where things are going on today. And what I would offer then is a second way that we begin to incorporate the practice of calming the oscillations of the mind. And that is how we act, how we behave. The beauty of Islam as a religion, one that I admire deeply, is that Islam is built on the principles of action. Do this. There are 5 pillars. Pray, give service, do these things, because what we do, as James Baldwin says, I can't believe what you're saying because I see what you're doing. So how we do it. And let me just offer this unsolicited commentary on the world that we're in today. Character matters. Character matters. who you are in the world is really important because it is determining the very evolution of the process itself. And someone like Socrates, someone like Aristotle and Plato said, hey, there are things of ways of behaving that you should do. They called these virtues. And so this month we talked about the 4 cardinal virtues: temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice, and taking one of them on as a practice. What does temperance mean? Temperance means knowing what enough is. And in our culture, we have no clue. Because if you talk to people about, prosperity or wanting this or wanting that or doing whatever, that was always like, I just want to have more than enough. Well, more than enough is a belief in lack. Right? To have more than enough means that it's a hedge against the experience that is underlying everything, that there isn't enough. So it's a grasping one. So temperance simply calms the oscillation of that, and it understands what enough is. Fortitude is about living courageously. It means being guided by your heart. Because when we love, we can do anything. Think about this. Think about someone that you love and what you can do and would do for them. So this idea that we let love be the guiding force of our life is a way in which we live courageously, not fearlessly. I think fearlessly is kind of nuts. It's like that bird in New Zealand, right? Everything's good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just thinking happy thoughts and get eaten. No, but it's about being loving. It's about being living. And prudence, I like to think of prudence as my present self is thinking about my future self. What is best for me to do today that will benefit me tomorrow? So we had a practice that we were in Rosarito last week, and we got to practice prudence a lot. Maybe that next tequila is not a good idea because we want to do this tomorrow. You know what they actually, so I have not been to Rosarito in decades, but they actually have now, this was amazing to me. This is a testament to how we're on the razor's edge, as Galadriel says. They actually have studios that you can go to if you are hungover, where they hook you up to an intravenous drip of something or another to take care of that. I was amazed. We didn't use it, of course, but I was amazed. It's like, well, there you go. It's like trying to condition cows, We are a funny race. God created us because God loves a good story. But anyway, so prudence is that thought that says, I will do this because, or I won't do this because tomorrow or next week or next month or next year or next whatever, I will benefit from this. And justice. You've heard me say this a million times. Walter Brueggemann, one of my favorite authors, says this: justice means simply this: finding out what belongs to whom and returning it. Finding out what belongs to whom and returning it. That's justice. So we can practice those things. So what I'm offering this month is to err as human, of course, because we all, Lee and I, neither one of us slept last night. I know Andrew didn't sleep last night either. So this would not be a good day for us to fly airplanes or do surgery or any of those kinds of things. We may not be at our best. To err is where we are today. And I personally am very vulnerable to errors, so I will be very careful what comes out of my mouth. To err. But to create is divine, because that's the invitation. That's the process of evolution. That's how this divine presence is revealing itself. Adam Codman, the heavenly man, the incarnation, the total human, which, by the way, is Jesus never told or referred to himself as the Son of God. Son of God was referred to as for kings, and prophets. They became sons of gods, just like Emperor Augustus did, just like all the emperors, just like the divine right of kings. Jesus never referred to himself as the Son of God. That's a political term. But he referred to himself as Adam Kadmon, the universal human, the human one, the Son of Man, the son of another. And that's it. To be human is to be part of this activity of creation. And then how do we do this? How do we activize like this? Which brings us to the third principle that I want to speak about a lot next month, because I think it's so profound and so important. And it is simply this: to learn first concentration without effort, and to transform work into play. To cultivate the ability of concentration without effort, and the ability to transform work into play. To make every yoke easy and every burden light. So this is awareness and perception at its height, right? I am aware of the world that I'm living in. I am aware how overwhelming it can be. I'm aware how frightening it can be. I am aware that we are on the razor's edge, but I perceive that there is a divine principle that was there at the very beginning of all things, that loves me unrelentingly and is forever luring me. And if I can just breathe and calm the oscillations of my mind and stop catastrophizing, I can be open to a wisdom that is guiding me, encouraging me, luring me. If anything our teaching teaches us, it teaches us this: we can trust ourselves. We can trust our intuition. We can trust that divine breath that is within us. We may need to cultivate it sometimes, because there's all these other voices that are talking. But we can, with practice, to cultivate this, to learn concentration without effort, which simply means being aware of what we're being aware of. And being aware of how we're perceiving it. Someone came into the room that I haven't seen before. Look how I'm reacting. Or, look at how this happened. And now I'm doing this. I haven't done that in 30 seconds. I think I set a record. Whatever the case may be, how we are doing. So we're learning to perceive this, and then we're learning to transform our work into play. Picasso said that. Picasso used to say that when he worked, he played, and when he played, he worked. Because you've ever noticed when you're engaged in something really cool, you're creating something that's amazing, and it takes a whole lot of energy, maybe physically and mentally and emotionally, but you're just in this thing and you're sweating and you are refreshed. It's fun. It's a game. You're doing it. So I think Emma Curtis Hopkins says it best, where she says, in mental science, there is one don't. One don't in mental science, and that is, don't complain. Don't complain. And it's a mental activity, because she's right, there's the awareness, right? And then there's the perception, this is going to be miserable. I've got to do this, I got to get gas. I got to do this. Perception, but turn it into play. It's a mental activity, and it's causative. And when we do it, it ripples. It ripples to those around us and around us and around us and to around us. So we learn concentration without effort to transform work into play. And Jesus says this: my burden is easy. My yoke is light. And to me, what that means is this, that when we can change our perception of who we are in this vast and incredible thing that we're in, called the evolution of the universe, and this blip of time on this speck of a planet in a backwater galaxy, 14 plus billion whatever years old, and here we are, and we matter. The very trajectory of the planet, the very trajectory of the universe is waiting for us to say yes to that presence that loves us, knows us, sees us, and desires that we live fully to who we have been born to be. Because when that happens, the very universe itself is saved. Thank you.
Thanks always, Rev. So beautiful. Masterful.
right, let's keep divinely creating with our voices here the feeling of togetherness. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. Look at someone, say, you are the light. You are the light, you are the light, you are the light in this world. You are the light, you are the light, you are the light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. One more time. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. Yes, you are.
Well,
You too.
thank you.
Wow. Let's give it up again for this talk, that beautiful talk, beautiful music. Awesome. You know, every Sunday I'm here and I'm just totally filled by the Spirit. You know, the spirit of love and the spirit of creativity. And what I got from the talk was about, you know, when Dr. Guy was talking about our imagination. And we as people are here on this planet leading it forward in the universe. And what scientists are calling it now the anthropomorphine. And it means that humans are now here on this earth in abundance. Whereas before you had all these other species and we were just part of it, and now it's us. And so to err is human and to create is divine, right? So we have this bridge. We're like on the earth, and we extend out, or we can extend into the heavens. And so we have that opportunity to connect to that spiritual nature. And that's why I love coming here every Sunday, because I can connect to my spiritual nature. As Magdalena was saying about the chakras earlier, and we have the ability to connect to that spiritual depth that we each have. You know, we start out with those chakras that are on the lower, and then they just kind of, they connect to that higher part of us. And so now we are at that place of conscious giving, where we have the opportunity to have and utilize that power of decision. And so today we decide to go forth in our imagination, in our creativity, by sharing with this beautiful center our spiritual coin, the love and the creativity that we put into the world every week. And so if you are giving today, please feel free to hold that gift to your heart. And know with me that this gift is that power of love. The power of love that continues forth this idea of a truth that is shared every single week by our beloved Reverend Dr. Guy Williams, where these insights really allow us to connect further and further into that spiritual nature by who we are and who we came to be. And so knowing that as these gifts go forth, that they simply are blessed, and that they increase and multiply for a better world, for a better life, for the betterment of our future and our imagination as we so express it. And so it is.
Thank you. The people coming through, people like you, people coming through, people like you.
Thank you. So thank you once again for coming. I just so appreciate it. And I want to give a shout out because I didn't say it this morning. I want to say good morning to our virtual watchers. Hello, I haven't forgotten about you, but I think I explained myself. I'm a little wiggy today. Not a good day to use a saw, I'll bet. Like that was going to happen. Honey, I was going to build those planners today, but I shouldn't try a saw. Yeah, one less. I like all my digits. So I want to thank those virtually. Magdalena, thank you so much. It was such a gift. Thank you so much. I see Brother Michael Greer. He's back there at the desk, the situation place there at the. What am I trying to say? The flight deck. I'm thinking of Star Trek, the Enterprise. Those that make us look good, sound good, and project us out there. So thank you for Steve and Michael for being there. Thank you for the greeters that were today and what's going on in the gift shop today. There's wonderful new things. We have this really good coffee that we got. We're experimenting with it. If you haven't tried to pick up a bag of it, we got some ground. Did the ground stuff come in? Yeah, Andrea called them and said, there were some people that were sending that would prefer ground coffee to the beans, and they said, okay, we'll send you some, and that was that. So anyway, we got coffee, so check that out. Do you have? I'm looking at you, Luann. Do you have produce today? No. It's run the course, huh? I'm telling you, those tomatoes were just they were like literature. They were just wonderful. And thank you guys. Thanks so much, Jim. Always. Jim's here. By the way, if you did not know this, Jim is here every Sunday morning making coffee. The coffee that you are drinking and enjoying today is the coffee that Jim made this morning before you got here, and before he teaches. And Walter, bless your heart. Good having you here, buddy. Talk about evolution, right? I mean, the animals that we keep, because Steiner says that like dogs and cats and horses and animals that are close to us are getting ready to take birth as humans in their next life. So they're just kind of learning the ins and outs of things. So we just want to just wake them up, be there. We love you. Give bhakti. Yeah, Walter's he's already figured it out. Oh gosh, I shouldn't talk anymore. I should pray. So, thank you all for being here. If this is your first time, sometimes I'm more coherent. I have this dog. We have this dog. We have two dogs, and of course, like every family, we have the mensch, the one that's wonderful, the one that gets us up in the morning and makes tea and cleans the house for us and all that others, and then we have Rollo. And there's a dead gopher in the yard today. That was Rollo. So, up at 1, up at 2, up at 3, up at 4. So, and you know what? It's good. I'm grateful. I am grateful for the experience of living today in this moment with the life that surrounds me and all that is there. And I invite you to join me in this breath and this moment of gratitude. Indeed. Kurt Vonnegut said, we are the mud that got to get up and look around. Lucky us, lucky mud. Lucky us that here in this moment, we are aware of each other and aware of ourselves. We are aware of a presence that is beyond comprehension and yet is as near as the breath, always inviting us to a greater experience of who we are. We are part of a community that is committed to loving each other into wholeness. And so, our blessing, our prayer, as Emerson says, prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. And may that highest point of view be that we see the activity of the divine in all things. May it bring us to a place of amazement, wonder, awe, and reverence. And may that inspire each and every one of us to be of service to something greater than ourself, this thing called life. And so we give thanks. We let it be. So it is.
All right, here's a song I'm going to close with about how we all are kind of flawed as humans. We're not perfect individuals, but we end up having to compare ourselves to creative pieces like movies and songs and information that isn't human. It's just everything we hear is a creation. So we're comparing our human selves to divine creations all the time, and it doesn't work out for us if we do that. So this song's about reconciling those differences. It's called Movie Poster.
Well, I don't usually write songs like this, but I got this feeling I can't dismiss. See, I've been afraid, paid the part too long, chasing perfection, wondering what went wrong. But life's not like a movie poster. It's a stop, start, fall apart roller coaster. So stand up tall, you can't win them all, and you don't always hit the notes you're supposed to. You don't always hit the notes you're supposed to. So I'm strutting into everything, don't care if I lose. They'll be looking at me strange, like all confused. Keep your chin up, man, you gotta understand. Some of the best things came from a change of plan. And life's not like a movie poster. It's a stop, start, fall apart roller coaster. But you'll be fine, you'll get them next time. And you don't always hit the notes you're supposed to. You don't always hit the notes you're supposed to. It's not a selfie stick or a get rich quick. It's not a headline, no, you can't rewind. Nobody shows their deleted scenes. It's the highs and the lows, but mostly in betweens. So keep lending your hand and humming your tune. We could reach for the stars and shoot for the moon. And life's not like a movie poster. It's a start, fall apart roller coaster. But I'm okay, it just wasn't my day. And you don't always hit the notes you're supposed to. You don't always hit the notes you're supposed to. I don't usually write songs like this, but I got this feeling I can't dismiss. I was too busy wishing for my destiny. I was missing all the magic right in front of me. Happy Sunday, everyone. Have a great one. Much love. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, kept on going. So the drum went crazy. And early on, it was rare.